Hello, everyone. Roger Connect, president of Universal Accounting Center, and I'm excited to work with Vina Spickler today. She actually has an accounting practice. It's called Sandpiper Accounting, and coincidentally, you happen to be a graduate of ours, having a while ago gone through our programs, and I'm excited for you to share your story and, more importantly, kind of give some advice and insights that I'm sure many of our listeners would like to hear. So let's go ahead and just, first of all, start. Vina, share with us your background, your experience. What led you to even starting your practice?
Okay, I've always worked in the business world as either in a bookkeeper or as a senior accountant or staff accountant and things like that. I was
Okay.
also in assistant AD for OSU Athletics Business Operations, and that's a Division I school. I did that for 20 years, and then I was in North Carolina and worked for some different companies there and got into financial services. But it all came back to wanting to have my own business. And after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, going from the employer to the sole proprietor to a business owner to an investor, I said, okay, that's what I got to do. That was what some of my goals were, and so I found Universal Accounting. I can't remember. I think it was online. I was looking at some things, and it intrigued me to be able to what you offered, the class, and that you can basically you take the class and you start the old type bookkeeping through 10-column ledgers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew that I have to do numbers, debits and credits. I just could get involved in that, and it just, the time would pass and I would love it.
So I want to jump in here, Vina. One of the things that I heard you share earlier is the fact that this was kind of like a calling or a longing that you had to actually go start your own practice. So you were being successful within your career. You were moving quite a bit and doing a number of things. What do you think was that calling you were having?
I think it was like, it goes back to kind of being paid what you're worth and not what you feel you're worth and not what somebody else is thinking. And that's kind of what really pushed me into that once I realized that I have all these different experiences with different industries and different scenarios, along with I even have some HR experience that I just need to put that in to work for me. And I know with my work ethic and my integrity that I could do this and help people. And then once I got into doing Universal Accounting, I realized that there are a lot of small businesses now, and back then they were just kind of starting, that their focus was on their business, and then a lot of them didn't understand like how to reconcile a bank statement, how to put their numbers together to present to a bank, or so they could know how their business is doing. And so that's really what prompted me. And then so I did that, and I was working on some things, and I moved back to Oklahoma, and then jumped in.
Well, let me jump in right there. When you started your business, were you still working full time, or were you in a position where you were able to do this full time from the get go? In other words,
basically, I started it at full time so when I got back to Oklahoma, I went to work for some different companies, and then I was the controller for this big fabrication company, and then things happened and it closed, and I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to do it. And I did it. And it was amazing how many people needed my services. And it's, people said, oh, Vina, that's the best thing. That's what you need to do. And then I went on and became certified with QuickBooks. And it really, that really did help me get started. So I also do troubleshooting with QuickBooks also.
So
it's been a journey, but it's like, it's the best thing that I ever did. It just, kind of, you wish, well, I wish I had thought of this sooner. Well, it happens whenever it's supposed to happen in your life, whenever you're really ready.
it sounds like the trigger for you happened to be where the employer you were working for as the controller was ending that, and all of a sudden you found yourself needing to make that decision, and you chose to go out and start your business and do this full time, jump both feet first. So that's powerful, because I know a lot of people out there, some start doing this as a supplemental income, just doing it on nights and weekends as they're working a regular job as their primary income. Other people are like you, they jump feet first, they're going all the way, and this is powerful because that's exactly what you did. So yeah, you mentioned
one thing I realized is that, I mean, I'm a bookkeeper and I also know accounting, but the big thing was that I made a decision. I'm not doing taxes. I'm not doing, so I will get a CPA. And so what I did is I got a hold of, I called you guys when I was getting ready. And I can't remember the gentleman's name that helped me with the marketing side. And he says, okay, we're going to write this letter. We're going to do this. And I still was using the books I got back in the class. And he said, so I did that. And then it just kind of, everything, I figured it's going to take me 2 or 3 years. Well, within a year, I had maybe probably 8 or 10 clients. I was doing, I mean, I was so busy and and the money was coming in. And one thing that was interesting when I was taking your class is that is the way you get paid is that you do a monthly fee instead of an hourly compensation to your recurring clients.
That's right.
And that has been that was huge, because I was able to sit down and I used the, from the book, the little form that you use, to kind of give you an idea how much to charge and what you were doing, and it just all kind of fell into place. And probably the thing that I was hesitant about until I did it a few times was actually sitting down with someone who just called me on the phone and said, I need your help, and to go and sit down with them and start asking them questions. And that was probably, but once I got over that fear to be able to just sit down and talk to anybody, then it worked out great. I mean, I can't, but I truly feel it was the class that I took with you guys and the information that you gave about, you can go out and start your own business and do this, and then as you grow, you can add people. Because right now I've added 2 people that are going through the class, because another thing that I found is there is a huge need for a good bookkeeper out there for the way the small businesses are growing. I mean, I have people calling me, I do a lot of relationship marketing, to where it's just basically by word of mouth. And like when I first started, we talked about doing a website and doing it. Well, I don't have a website because I don't have time to deal with it, because I got so many clients calling me. And the neat thing is that you can kind of pick and choose, because if someone asks you or wants you to do something that you do not feel is appropriate or is kind of on the, the moral side or ethical side, then you can just say, I'm sorry, you need to find somebody else, because I'm not going to do that.
That's right.
And that is probably the most powerful thing. One of the most powerful things for me is to be able to, you don't have to worry about somebody's going to, well, if I don't do this, they're going to fire me. It doesn't matter. You got to feel good about yourself.
So I'm
to
going to
do it.
jump in right here. I think there's a lot that you've shared so far that's actually quite powerful. Just to go back to where you were starting, you chose obviously to focus on bookkeeping services and have a QuickBooks emphasis as opposed to doing taxes. I think that's powerful because this is obviously your business. You get to decide what it is you're planning on offering as services. You get to decide on what it is you want to do for the clients. And with that, you were able to grow your company. You talked about not having a website. You're right, that's not essential, but it's something that you were able to do through the social media and the marketing that you were doing to where you're just getting clients coming on all the time. But the thing I wanted to kind of draw your attention back to is the fact that you talked about pricing. You brought up how, like we teach, rather than doing the hourly, you move towards the flat rate, and that is an introduction to value pricing. And so that's powerful. I'm just kind of curious. You said within a year you had 8 to 10 clients. Was it
Right.
in that year that you were able to replace the income that you had from your previous employment?
Oh yeah, plus some.
Very
Yeah,
good. So,
it's amazing because I make um, more money now than I've ever really. I mean, and I've had some good jobs and made good money, but I have, I guess it may be the freedom where I don't have to worry about going to work and then having to pace myself because I'm fairly, I do it, I can really do things quite fast and act with accuracy and everything. And so I don't have to pace myself. I can just sit down and work on it. And, sometimes when you first start with that type of pay, is
uh-huh.
like up front you're going to probably put in more hours than you think, oh my gosh, I probably. But then once you get started, the hours are pretty much comparable to what you're charging. I
Yeah.
mean, it's and people like that, because they're figuring you're going to say, well, it's going to cost you $75 an hour or $100 an hour, and I say, well, it's only going to cost you X number of dollars for this month per month, because it just depends on what you're going to be doing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that's I mean, I have one huge client that kind of was my jump off place
Uh-huh.
when I first started, and they've been very supportive, and it was kind of a big turnaround. So I still have them, and so I do make a lot of money from them. But
Are
these
they
other,
your largest client?
I would say my largest client. Well, yeah, probably because it's an athletic facility. They have like 4 basketball courts, 4 or 5 tennis courts. They do pickleball courts. They have volleyball. They have a big Olympic-sized swimming pool. So it's one of those where you have memberships and you have all this stuff. And so I'm also very good with learning other softwares. And so I was able, and they were on QuickBooks already. So it was interesting to learn how to use their point of sale software and to get the financials so that they felt good about the financials
Now,
type
you
thing.
did share that you've actually grown your firm to the point now where you have 2 bookkeepers working for you. You mentioned that they're obviously going through the bookkeeping program that we have, so that's phenomenal. But with your firm growing like this, I'm sure that it got to a point where you were working without employees and realized you needed to make that transition. What was one of those things that told you, I've got to now grow beyond myself and not just be a solo entrepreneur?
It's because I was not being able to give all the time that was needed to each one of my clients, and that I needed some help. So I just basically right now have one that I've contracted, and that because she also does this for other couple, 3 other businesses and where we are, but she goes with me and helps me with, because I also do payroll, and so she helps me with this so that I can keep going with, because the company won't hire anyone for their bookkeeping, so
So
it's up to me. And if it was getting so big that I had to have, that's when I realized that I've got to
you needed
get
the
some
help.
help. Yeah.
So are both of these individuals 1099 or W-2s?
Right now they're going to be 1099s.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
because
one of the
because
things
I'm not there. They don't have set hours. They don't. I'm working so that they can work at home and stuff like that. So it's just getting the client. But as I said, one of them already has other clients that she works with. And the biggest thing for me is, and one reason I decided to have them take your class is, well, the one that is working really with me now is I have no doubts that she's gonna do fine. The other one, I think but I said, okay, I need to know if you really like bookkeeping and you really want to be able to do this, so that's why I did the class for her too, because I've also found that people say they know what they're doing, but they don't.
Yes, that is all too true. So
it's interesting, and then because people they know what they're doing, but they don't understand all the laws about their taxes, about if they're a retailer, the sales tax, if they're an employer and have one or two, they got payroll tax, payroll stuff. And so plus just being able to do a financial statement so you can go through an audit. Like if you want to be a nonprofit and you want to get grants, you have to have an audited financial statement. Yeah. Well, you can go to the CPA, but then I know what to put together and help and work with them so that they can do that. And so that's another thing that I do too. Okay.
So let me jump on this then. One of the things that I think people would want to know is, if you were to talk to someone who, like you years ago, was planning to start and really go on this journey that you've now had, what advice would you give to someone who is looking at starting their own bookkeeping accounting firm?
Is to make sure that is your passion. Is that if you like working with numbers and you know what debits and credits are, and you know what T accounts are, and you know how to read all that and understand the financial, because their numbers tell you a story. And if you have a passion for that and you're kind of on the fence and, well, I don't know, well, just go for it, because there is such a need out there for those people that like me, that know that stuff and that can read that. But it is kind of intimidating, but if they use your marketing like I did, it made it really simple. To get the word out and to go around and talk and get started talking to people, and that's it. That's also what gave me the confidence to do it. So.
Well, that's huge, because obviously you're admitting there's definitely a demand. There is a need. Passion, I do agree, is quite essential. You've got to be excited and passionate about what you're doing. So let me ask you about your passion. What is it you feel you're doing for your clients? What is it that you feel they receive having you do their books?
They're getting accurate information on a timely basis to be able to perform different functions of, to make decisions, financial decisions for their business. And that's key, because if you don't have that information, you're not going to be able to really make good, sound decisions, no matter what your business is. Even with my business, I have to keep up with what my numbers are, and it goes back to things I've learned that, when we're all going through school and high school, they don't teach you how to do. They kind of teach you bookkeeping, but not really how to take care of yourself and how to do budgets. And you have to know that yourself to be able to talk to people about it, to your clients, and show them how to put together a budget, or help them understand what the difference is between a profit and loss or an income and expense statement and a balance sheet, and what those different numbers mean.
Very true.
So you've got to be able to know that yourself, to be able to help your clients get to where they want to be.
One of the things I liked about what you were mentioning there is you're an interpreter, a translator, and what we actually teach at Universal is becoming, in fact, a profit and growth expert for your clients, because you're meant to take what the business is communicating through the financials and interpret that, because that's the language of the business, and we want the business owner to understand it, at least enough that they're able to make more informed, intelligent business decisions. Now, with that being said, you've mentioned numerous times in here Universal Accounting having helped you with not only the bookkeeping and QuickBooks, but also the marketing.
Right.
One of the things that I'd like to just talk about is the coaching. I know you received some coaching. You worked with some coaches to help you properly implement these things here. What could you say about the coaching you experienced?
Well, it was basically, it was just exactly what I needed. They understood what I was wanting, and well, bottom line is that if I would have had them assist me and coach me through this, then it would never have happened for me, because it goes along with anything. You have to have a support system, and Universal Accounting was my support system to answer my questions and say, okay, Vina, you could do this. This is you're going to do this great. Or or they would, I would send them something, they would kind of critique it and send it back to me. And so it's good to have that feedback, because you need all that information from different people to help you make your own decision.
Yeah. Well, when you work with the right coach, there's definitely an element of accountability. They're able to kind of hold your feet to the fire and make sure things get done. In fact, I would even go to say is they help you get things that are important done more quickly. But at the same time, there is that essence of confidence that you're working with somebody to ensure that what you're doing is the right thing, the right way. So here's my next question. You're an accounting professional. You have an accounting firm. You have clients. What do you see on the horizon? How do you see accounting changing in the near future?
Accounting as a whole?
Yes.
Okay. I see if the bookkeepers and the accountants like me get out there, it's going to make it people more aware of where they are financially, because we're in a service industry, not the industrial industry like we used to be. We're in the service industry, and so that's where all these small businesses are coming from. And for them to be successful, they need someone like me to help them to prepare their information to go to a CPA to get the right guidance. And I think we're kind of the in-between person, or that's not really what I want to say, but to help the people, the small business, get to a CPA that can take it to the next level, and to be able to get them so that they're not behind in their taxes, and they know where they are, and they can get some more advice from the CPA. But I think that it's very important for there to be people like me that kind of bridges that between the small business and the CPAs, to where they're not just taking something in a shoebox, and then they're having to, because we're saving them money also by doing this, and they're not putting all their receipts in a shoebox. They're getting their bank statements reconciled. They're getting their accounts so that they know kind of where they stand most of the time. And then when it's presented to the CPA, then they're able to actually take it to the next level and prepare their tax return, and say, maybe this year we may want to do it a little differently, or do, to give them some advice there, not have to be trying to put everything together and get their tax return done.
So one of the things that I was hearing you say is you're very important to your clients because of the work you're doing between their interactions with the CPA getting their taxes done. Taxes is a one-time a year experience, but what you're offering is obviously more that continual information over a year period, and it's hopefully monthly and quarterly, and as you can, obviously real time. So one of the things that I also heard you say is that your clients can definitely see you as an asset to their business rather than this necessary expense that they're incurring because they are in business. If you give them the right information, and especially in a timely way, you're providing a value to them that they can appreciate and definitely use to make their businesses better. So one thing that I'd like to just end with, and this is just basically an opportunity for you to kind of share any parting thoughts. What advice or input would you like to share to someone listening who, like you, has a practice or is maybe looking to grow their practice? what insights would you have for them as just some final words of advice?
Oh my goodness. Is to listen. I guess the big thing is listening to your client, because they will tell you what their goals are, even though they may not know that. But if you listen to what they're telling you that their end result is, or what their goals are, it makes it a lot easier for you to when you're putting the numbers together, then you can see, okay, well, we're getting there, or well, maybe we need to tweak something that you're doing if you're really wanting to get to that next level, or to that one of those goals. And I think but the big thing is listening and understanding what your client wants.
That's true. I mean, they're the one paying us for our services, so we better be listening. And as we meet their needs, they'll be happy with our services. In fact, it gives us a great opportunity to then over exceed what it is we've offered, so that we can basically wow them with these additional things that you can in fact do. So Vina, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us, and most importantly, this journey you've experienced as you went from starting your business to now growing so much that you're working with 2 other individuals to service your clients' needs. One thing that I'd like to share with everyone as part of having listened to this webinar and hearing Vina's story is one of the key things that is helpful to helping you, in fact, have the premier accounting service in your market is a book titled In the Black, The 9 Principles to Making Your Business Profitable. And what I want to do is, as part of just listening in on this phone call and on this webinar, is share with you the free e-copy of the book. And the e-book is something that a lot of people really enjoy. It's free. It's something that you can use to go through and literally see those things that you need to be doing in your business to really take it to that next level and make the most of what you're doing in your market. So with that in mind, Vina, thank you for sharing your story. And for everyone else, if it's about accounting, it's universal.
Exactly. Thank you.
You betcha. Take care and have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.